शुक्लाम्बरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये सरस्वति नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. Okay, so last time, if you remember, we had started with the topic of Garbhopanishad, which is nothing but human anatomy. That is what exactly happens right from the type of conception till the child comes out, what the child undergoes, the fetus inside the womb, what all it undergoes, what all it experiences, how the piece of flesh that is there inside, how it develops in the womb, that has been mentioned. So we saw the introduction, so let's continue. पञ्चात्मकं पञ्चसु वर्तमानं षडाश्रयं षड्गुणयोगयुक्तं तत्सप्तधातु त्रिमलं द्वयोनि चतुर्विधाहार शरीरं भवति. Now basically the body, it is composed of what that has been given here in detail. Composed about 5 elements that are there, the Pancha Mahabhutas. Then you have the five. It exists in 5 states. It is associated with 6 gunas. Then 7 components, 3 malas, 2 yonis, and is formed of 4 kinds of food. Now, looking at this, it might be confusing. We are going to look at all of this in detail. So, what exactly it is, let's have a look. So, how is one's body composed of exactly? That has been mentioned here. Now, the scheme of human anatomy, meaning what exactly is human anatomy? First is the 5 elements. Panchat makamiti kasmat prithivyapas tejo vayurakashamiti. Prithivi, apaha, tejaha, vayuhu, akashaha. 5 elements mainly Prithvi, earth, apaha, water, tejaha, fire, vayu, air, akashaha, space. So body is also consisted, it is composed of this 5 elements that are there, Panchamahabhutas as we call. Next is तत्र पृथिवीधारेण आपः पिण्डीकरणे तेजः प्रकाशने वायुर्गमने आकाशमवकाशप्रदाने. Now you might be wondering where exactly this is there, how 5 elements have an impact on this. For this, this is somewhat related even to the chakra study that is there, Kundalini chakra. So different chakras of the body starting from the lower part, that is mainly from the lower abdomen, lower back that we have till the topmost part of the head. That is, you have the placement of the 5 chakras. They are all resembling each part of the body that is there. Now, for example, here, earth. Earth is hard, right? So hardness is one concept that is there. What is hard? Now, if you see, you touch your different parts of the body. Maybe you try to, you can say, we play this right, hand wrestling also, call it in local language is Punjab that we play. What happens exactly in that? Our hands are little stiff. Right? When you play that hand wrestling with someone, after some, it's very hard. It's not very easy to do that. What is that? It is hardness. Or maybe you try to hold your feet also. You try to press your feet. At one point of time, you can feel that hardness that is there, right? You press your hands. Any part of the body you try to press. One point of time, you find it very hard. Why it is hard? Because you have bones inside, you have muscles inside, you have something, there is a base. Whereas now, say for example, you have a bubble of water or something, or maybe cotton. There's nothing hard in that, right? Maybe you press it, it goes inside, it's gone. Bubble, you just touch it, it breaks. But human body is not like that. There is some hardness. Because it is hard, that's the reason why we survive. You can sit maybe. Why do you sit? You have a balance, right? Our lower body, there is a balance. You sit on the floor, you're sitting on your lower body, sitting on your hip part that is there, and there is a balance. When you sit, it doesn't go down. Say, for example, sometimes in our houses, we have some furniture, right? Some sofas or so, or a bed. You sit on that, the bed goes inside. Why? Because the cotton inside is soft. Whereas certain places you sit on it, maybe like a chair also, a wooden chair or a plastic chair, doesn't go inside. Why? Because it is hard. So our body also is composed of this hardness concept that is there. Next is water, fluidity. Fluids, that's the reason why we drink a lot of fluids, a lot of liquids. Blood also is fluid. You have liquids that are running throughout our body. You eat something, immediately we drink water for digestion purpose, right? Or when you feel thirsty, we need water. So fluids are very, very important. that is represented by the water element. Inflammation is fire. Problems like acidity, lot of gastric juices that are needed, gases are there in our body. We need that for proper survival. Air is mobility. I can move my hands, I can move my legs. None of our body parts are still, right? Now, when we are speaking, also, when I'm speaking, there is some voice modulation. I'm not speaking everything in one go. For certain words, I go up, certain words, my tone goes down. Maybe my head is shaking when we speak. Such things do happen. So, this is mobility. Whenever I want, I can shake my legs, I can shake my hands. We cannot shake our internal organs, but internally also there is mobility, right? Heart is continuously pumping. You just touch your chest and see there is mobility inside. You don't do it physically, but from inside the heart is doing that. Lungs are also pumping air. The stomach is doing so everywhere. Our entire body, be it the internal organs or the external body, some or the other kind of action, mobility is going on inside the body. It's just that we are not aware of it. So this is mobility. Next is last is spatiality. Spatiality is space. Now between everything there is some space that is there. Now all our body parts, if you see, they're not stuck to each other, right? There is some space between all the fingers. There is space. Or after the chest, now you can see the person's, you have the image also, you see there are some gaps in between, right? So this is basically what this tries to denote is that depending on the body structure, there is space from the head till the toe. It's not that all the body organs are there in one go. After eyes, after the hair, that is why you have some space for the forehead. Then between both the eyes, there is some space. Between nose, mouth, everything is there. Now, for example, I'll give you one good popular example that is there. You see some children when they are small, especially, or even in the case of twins, sometimes it happens. They'll have maybe their nose or mouth that is maybe stuck together, and then you have a surgery that is performed to remove that. Some people would have seen. Has anyone seen something like this? This is a very common case. Anyone has seen this? You have this mouth and the nose that is stuck for a few kids, and then you have the operation that is done. Become, huh, huh, okay. So some very old. Huh. Left lip, yes. Sometimes you see it is stuck. Huh. So when you, yeah, normal person, right? But still, even though they do the surgery, you look at that person, you can make out that something has been done. The nose will always be a bit flat also. So this is one example. Or even sometimes in a case of twins, it happens. Maybe their heads will be together sometimes. So that is operated. Now, some people don't do it, but then in extreme cases like twins also, if they have their heads together or something, you have to operate it. Or even the mouth and the hair, nose, that is it. Like my own example, if I give you, in my own family, I have one sister, cousin sister, small child, maybe about 15 years or so. She has this problem that is there, the mouth and the nose that are stuck together. Of course the operations and things are done, but still she cannot breathe properly till date. That is, she, though they have the nose that is functioning, she breathes to her mouth, so her mouth is never closed, that is there, and a lot of panting and things like that. Because still, of course, there might be some other issues too, but such things are very very common. So the spatiality, the point why I'm telling you this is, space that is there is very very important. Just as in life also we say, right, you give me my space. In our body organs also, space is something which is very important. That's the reason why all our fingers are stuck. You see some people have this problem also, two fingers will always be stuck together. All the fingers should be separated, otherwise we cannot use it. Similarly, the toes that are there on the feet. So there is space that is there, and this is represented by the space or the akasha element that is there. So when we say these five elements, and now here I'll give you an example of the chakra study that has to be connected here. So these five elements have got their own five set of, you can say, problems that are there. So if say for example you have this acidity problems, or sometimes no digestion problems, is because the element of fire is not proper in us. So they say like Agni Tattvam. Agni Tattvam has got some problem. In Ayurveda Shastram, you have this elements that are there. In everyday life, we call it commonly as acidity. Or maybe sometimes we cannot move our legs also, like a fracture kind of a thing, or maybe some muscle tear or something, some sprain that has taken place. You cannot move your legs. Akasha Tattva problem. So all this is used in Ayurvedic terms. So this is the connection that is there. Maybe you cannot move your face, that is this, I told you different parts of the body are stuck and so on. Mobility is because of air, so Vayu Tattva. I cannot move my hands properly. I cannot move my legs properly. There is some pain also. Then sometimes what happens is this dehydration problems. That is because of this water element that is there. Apatattvam is not there, so we don't have water also. Then you're told to have a lot of fluids. So such things are told. So in Ayurveda Shastram, especially in earlier times, when people used to go to the doctor, they will tell that they will not directly say I have acidity, I have this, I have that. They'll say no, I have something Akasha Tattva, there will be some problem here and there that is disturbed. So this was how all these five tattvas are related to different functions of the human body. Next is yeah. Now each of these elements, what do they do? पृथक् श्रोत्रे शब्दोपलब्ध उत्वक् स्पर्शे चक्षुषि रूपे जिह्वा रसने नासिकाघ्राणे उपस्थश्चानन्दने पानमुत्सर्गे बुद्ध्या बुध्यति मनसा संकल्पयति वाचा वदति. Meaning of this: prithvi or earth supports water, supports the body. That means we need some support that is there. You sit somewhere, it doesn't fall, right? There is gravity, that is hardness, so that is prithvi. Apaha, if you want, you can go to the previous slide and check what it is. Apaha is fluidity, water. That means it, our body keeps, you can say it helps in digestion also. Sometimes we overeat, right? And then some, or maybe there are some stomach issues also. We say, no, I don't want anything. I'll be on a liquid diet. Something we eat a lot of liquids. Maybe when a person is unwell also. So little maybe to stabilize the body that is there, we include this apatattvam, that is a lot of liquids. Then Agni adds visibility. Now what does Agni tell? Inflammation. Now, visibility here, inflammation is one thing inside our body also. Here, why the visibility is added, it seems that there were certain texts wherein this eyes problem also sometimes, if you see, uh, you have this problem of cataract, right? That comes in. What exactly is that cataract? You have that white color, the what do you call the white color? What is that exactly? What do you call that? Like a film also, it just develops on the eyes, right? It blurs our vision, especially in older people it comes. Then they do curtain. So basically that comes in and people cannot see that properly. So that when it comes, that it is not actually like inflammation is nothing which takes place only in the you can say like a burning sensation that is there. It can be anywhere where maybe our vision is disturbed, or sometimes in the ears also. Sometimes you have that water or wax that goes in, so we have to go and maybe get that removed, things like that. So basically, Agni is one tattvam that is responsible for visibility. For good eyesight, here one example is given. Visibility need not be only in the case of eyes. For visibility in the sense, the ears have to function properly, nose has to function. Say, for example, a cold is there. What exactly happens in a cold? You have the nose is blocked, right? So all the phlegm and things like that, or a throat is choked. You have cough, phlegm, everything should go up. That is visible in the sense it should become clear. The pathway should become clear. All this is represented by Agni Tattva. Next is Vayu. Vayu is mobility, air that is there. It adds to mobility. That means all our organs should function properly. They should be stretchable. That's the reason why old people, especially, they are told that you should walk a lot. Some people don't have this habit now. Let's not say only old people, even people like us. Today's times, even youngsters also, we don't walk, right? You go outside, you take some, maybe a car, your own vehicle, or maybe public transport, a rickshaw, or so you call, you immediately go. Why should I walk? I have my own vehicle and go, right? But mobility is also, we are not used to walking also, and then one fine day when we go about, we can actually feel the pain. Say for example, the first day maybe you go to a gym or maybe something like that, you run somewhere, you can see your legs, thighs, calf muscles, everything is paining, right? Because you are not used to. Then in the course of time, slowly once you become used to it, it becomes fine. So mobility is represented by the Vayu Tattva. Akasha is, now Akasha, Akasha mainly space that is there. So you are mainly expanding the body and contracting it. So that is nothing but when I have to move my hands, move my legs also, you can actually feel the stretches that is there. When you do this exercises also, you can feel the stretch, right? When you maybe you fold your, you move about, you rotate your face, or maybe you move about your hands and legs. Sometimes when we do, at that time you can expand your body. Why can you expand this? You can actually feel the stretches that are there inside. Sometimes when we get up in the morning, we stretch ourselves, right? Or some people have the habit of stretching themselves a whole day. That is another part. So Such things, when it happens, you can actually feel that there is something in my body from inside. You get a pull that is there. So that is nothing but space. This not all our you can stretch your hands, you can expand your hands, you can expand your legs. Everything can be done. Why? Because there is some space that is there in between. You can actually feel that. If everything is just stuck to one place, maybe you all the body parts you cannot move it at all. Just stuck, like the disease of leprosy also, wherein people cannot move their hands, fingers also. Only they know the pain that is there. It becomes very difficult. We cannot move our hands, and that's when blood flow also stops, and you have many problems that come. So basically, space or akasha tattva, it leads to expanding and contracting our body. Then, if all this are proper, it adds up to buddhi. Buddhi is consciousness. Physically, if we are strong, mentally also we become strong. And manasaha, manasaha is intellect. There is a difference between buddhi and manas. Buddhi is to be consciousness, is to be aware of things. Manasaha is intellect, using. Now, buddhi everyone has. How you use the buddhi is manasaha. Everyone is blessed with buddhi, but manasaha also everyone is blessed. But how we use, we never know. Buddhi, now we are all conscious, right? If someone calls out, immediately we react. Someone calls out our name, you say, ah, yes, this is my name. This is buddhi. That means you are conscious, you are aware. Okay, someone is calling out my name, I have to react. But the way you react, how you speak, someone calls out our name. If you speak rudely, it shows your personality. Whereas if you speak nicely, okay, what you need and so on, that's when our buddhi is shown. So reacting is buddhi. How we react is manasaha. A simple example. Someone calls out our name, we are aware. Oh yes, this is my name. That means you are conscious, you are aware. But how you react, the way suddenly we shout at the top of our voice, that shows our intellect. Whereas someone will speak very softly. So manasaha is there in our hands. Each person's manasaha differs. Whereas buddhi is something which is equally present in everyone, that is consciousness, to be aware. So in normal human beings it will be present, buddhi is present, manasaha is also present, but it depends on everyone's character. That's the reason why all of us are different, right? Someone calls out the way we speak. Some people will speak very rudely, some will speak very softly. So it depends. Next you have, one second. So this is how a human body is formed out of these five elements. Next, seven dhatus. What are the seven dhatus? Saptadhatumiti kasmad yada devadattस्य द्रव्यादि विषया जायन्ते परस्परं सौम्य गुणत्वात् षड्विधो रसो रसात् शोणितं शोणितान् मांसं मांसान् मेदो मेदसः स्नावास्नावनोस्थीन्य स्तिभ्यो मज्जामग्न्यः शुक्रम् शुक्रशोणित संयोगाद् आवर्तते गर्भौ हृदि व्यवस्थां नयति. You have some references from the original you can say Garbha Upanishad text also. What is that? The human body is considered as seven dhatus. Seven dhatus is seven elements. Dhatu is actually, like I can say, components, not elements. One is rasa. Rasa is nothing but limp that is there. Now, a simple meaning for limp. Maybe you have the shadrasas, taste, and so on. That is one kind of rasa that is there. Limp, mainly you can consider the liquids that are there inside our body. So, like you can say in the intestine, we have certain like glands that we call it. That's somewhat you can consider as rasa. Next, you have another meaning, common meaning of rasas is the shadrasas. They are the different tastes that are there. Maduraha, Tiktaha, Lavanaha, Kashayaha. Maduraha, sweet. Lavanaha, salt. Tiktaha, bitter. Now, Sanskrit, it is, you can say, opposite. Katuhu is spicy. In generally, if you see katu or kadwa that we say, that is bitter. Tiktaha, tikha is spicy. But in Sanskrit, it is other way around. Tiktaha is bitter. Katuhu is spicy. So, maduraha sweet. Lavanaha salty. Tiktaha bitter. Katuhu spicy. Next is what remains? Kashayaha. Kashayaha is like astringent. Sometimes you eat this raw mango or tamarind, little, you can say a lot of saltiness that comes in. That is actually that sour taste that is there. Sorry, that is amla. Amla is that sour taste that comes after we eat maybe raw mango or a tamarind. Kashaya in English you call it as astringent. All of us drink this kashayam. Corona times all of us would have tried, right? Kada that we call. You when you drink that, the taste is not at all good. Especially when you eat things like a gooseberry also. Amla, amalaka. Nellikai, Tamil when we call. That is nothing but the entire taste of our mouth changes. You have a different feeling altogether. When you drink those kashayam or so, the mouth taste is totally gone, right? It has its own health benefits, but the taste is totally gone. Our mouth seems as if it is very rough and so on. You cannot feel the teeth also. So that is that kashaya. And that's how the word has come kashayam. Kashayam is meaning that some decoction that is there, those so-called kadas that we have by preparing different elements. So like this, you have said six rasas. Shad rasas that are there, maduraha, lavanaha, tiktaha, katuhu, amlaha and kashaya. That is different. Your rasas are limp, that is there, which is the different fluids, the different glands that flow about intestinal juices and so on. Next is you have raktaha, blood. Blood is flowing all over the body. Mamsaha, muscle. Medha, fat. Now, especially in certain places like your hip, in the thighs, and so on, you have a lot of fat that is there. In the case of women, a lot of fat is there in the lower part of the body. In the case of men, a lot of fat will be there in the upper part. Upper part in the sense maybe in the stomach or the chest part, the shoulders, and so on. That's the reason men's shoulders also might be broad, whereas woman, if you see the thighs part or the hip part, might be big. So it depends on the gender characteristics also. So mamsa is muscle, medha fat, asti. Asti is nothing but bones. We say asti visarjanam, right? When a person dies, asti visarjanam is done on the next day. Why? Because it takes close to 24 hours for the asti or the next day after the body is burned for the bones to only remain, for all this rasa, rakta, mamsa, medha to go away. When a person dies, blood, everything, the soul is dead. That is, sorry, the body is dead, soul is there inside, breathing has stopped, but the physical body is still there. Right? You have the fat, you have muscles, everything is still there. That has not vanished. It will take some time. When you burn the body parts go away, the blood goes, everything goes away, but it takes some time that is there. And asti will never go away. Asti visarjanam never goes. That is the bones little are always there, and then the ashes next day you go to a water body and do the visarjanam. So asti is bones. Next is majja. Majja, bone marrow. Most important part of the body on which human beings survive. Human beings or living creatures, if you see bone marrow, many people have this bone marrow transplants and so on, right? The most costliest thing that is there and very, very unfortunate. But without that, we cannot survive. So, bone marrow is another part, one of the seven dhatus. Last is Shukraha. Shukraha is nothing but a reproductive element that is there. That is also another important part so that we can increase our progeny. So, now coming back to the main, so this is how human body is composed. And now, finally, how Garbha is formed is through the Shukra. Shukraha is a reproductive element. Mainly, it is called in it is seen in men. Men's reproductive element is called Shukraha, that is a semen, and Ovam that we call that is Shonitaha. Shukra Shonita Mishranam is equal to Garbha. Garbha is a womb. That is when is a womb is formed. That is how the child is formed is through the confluence or through the you can say the meeting of the semen and the ovum of the woman. So Shukraha, though in general terms, now say for example, we call man, right? When we say man, that woman is also there. Like that, Shukraha, when you say in general, you can translate it as a reproductive element. To be specific, Shukraha is a semen of men and Shonitaha is a ovum of woman. And finally, this results in Garbha. This is how a Garbha is formed. Next, further now, what exactly happens? Now, here you have, from here it starts the Garbha Upanishad, the main things that are there, they start forming. But now you have to note one thing. How, now once the ovum and the semen of meet together, what happens is, little now you have to note one thing when we talk about Shukraha, Shonitaha, and so on. That is the semen and the ovum of woman. As per now medical science also we know to develop a garbha, it is not that every time a garbha is developed, right? Now, say for example, you have what do you call? Every time now a man and woman they get into a physical relationship, every time it doesn't result in a child being born, right? Or we have so many couples or so, or so many people they face these fertility issues. It can be even in the case of man or it can be even in the case of woman. So why it happens so is what we call the semen or the sperms that you call. Now why I'm telling you all this in detail is whenever we have to study something, To form a garbha also it takes a lot of efforts. And there are certain topics which, like this, for example, Garbhopanishada or Kama Shastra and so on. People look at these topics with a very, you can say, low mindset that is there. No, we should not discuss this as open. If you don't discuss this in open, that is when it leads to many problems later, right? Or maybe in today's times you don't have this, but then you're now, all of us that are there, about 30 people, 40 people, nobody, I don't know whether it has happened in your case, but then such topics, did anyone teach you? Nobody teaches us in school. None of our parents discuss these topics. None of our, you can say, we come to know from anyone. It's just in the course of time, it happens that no, maybe through others. Now, in today's times, you have maybe the internet that is there or things like that, wherein we get to know, or maybe through the friend circle. But then this is something which is very, very dangerous that we have, because when you get to know things without someone telling us, that's when it leads to problems, because you don't know things in the whole way. The other person who's telling you, maybe it can be a friend or maybe internet and things like that, that is also half knowledge. What that person has understood, same he will come and tell you. Maybe you look at something and then you feel, oh, this might be the way. That's when we have so many issues that rise in. Or I don't know, there are many women out there or men out there. Maybe once you get married also you get to know so many things. Just imagine the shocking things that are there. Or maybe you have so much of these unplanned pregnancies that happen. Or sometimes the different rape cases and things like that also that happen. At least to some extent it can be stopped when the right things are discussed in the right manner. This is what I feel. Of course, now still our society has not developed to that extent that you uh, discuss these topics openly. But the point is now, and then many times as parents especially, or even at a school level also, nowadays of course you have such things that are discussed, but at least a few years back also, maybe 5 6 years back, till before that also, when I was in school also, there was no one, maybe that particular topic, when it comes in science, the teacher will, maybe she'll just go away or shun it, something like that, right? And why this happens is the right way of telling some things many times. Now, some people might not maybe agree with my views, but what I just feeling, I'm just telling. It is like little when we don't discuss such topics, and nobody has told us to not discuss it, but the way you discuss is very, very important. And one thing that we always remember is, as parents or as teachers, when we tell our own children, you explain things in a good way, the child will always look upon you as a proper guide. You can say as a close friend, oh, my mother is telling me everything, my father is discussing everything. So the child also comes and shares. Whereas at a certain extent, when we, you can say, shun away certain topics, we feel that no, why let the child come to know things from outside also. One fine day you will know about things. The child from that day onwards stop losing faith in us. The same thing maybe all of you also would have experienced, right? Now we should not blame this on anyone. We should never blame, oh, my father didn't tell me anything, I will also do the same thing. My grandfather, they were not open to this. They were not open, they did not know about things. The society maybe was like that in those times. You can be the change, right? But this, the point is, knowing about things is very, very important. There are certain things wherein the society does not discuss. Why should I discuss such things? Later it always leads to problems. One fine day the child is always going to know about things. You yourself did the same thing. The mistake, or you can say, let's not call it even a mistake, the thing which maybe as our parents or our grandparents did this, we need not do the same thing for our future generations. Because through this, only one thing that is there is openness, and the child itself feels that okay, I know about all things. My own parents, my own teachers have told me these things. Tomorrow, I don't have to face any issues that are there. At least we don't want our child to maybe suffer, or maybe experience things which we experience. Maybe one fine day I got to know so many things which I never knew at all before. So, like this, there are certain things that are there, and always knowing things in the right manner is very, very important. When we know things in the right manner, automatically respect also develops. So, coming back, so why I'm telling you this is, our own scriptures that were there, be it Kama Shastram for that matter, or be it Garbhopanishad, why such scriptures were even written is to make people aware of things that are there. But there was a time in, you can say, middle India or middle history, wherein such topics were shunned about. If the society, or if our culture, Sanatana Dharma, considered these topics to be as so-called taboo that we say, or not to be discussed openly, we would never have texts like Kama Shastra or Garbhopanishad today. Let people know in the course of time, they will know it doesn't happen. It is we human beings which feel, no, why should I discuss these topics in open? And we have created this. If our dharma has to say so, then it would have never established books. Best example, I'll give you one, is of Adi Shankaracharya. when the debate took place between Mandana Mishra and Adi Shankaracharya, Ubhaya Bharati, who was incarnation of goddess Sharada, she comes and she tells, uh, she sees that her husband is actually losing in the debate that was taking place. Very smartly, what she does is she asks Shankaracharya a question from Kama Shastra. Kama Shastram is how man and woman, how they get into a physical or sexual relationship, whatever it is. As usual, Adi Shankaracharya did not know about it. He was a brahmachari. And he had seen only one mother in his life, that was Aryamba. And that too, he had left her at the age of 8. Ashtavarshe, as the name comes, Ashtavarshe Chaturvedi. So he had mastered all the four Vedas. So he took up sannyasa. Later, he lost his mother also very soon. So then he did not know anything. But then at that time, he did not say, I am a brahmachari. Why should I know about things? Immediately, through his yogic powers, he gets into the body of a king. He experiences Kama Shastra. He experiences what exactly it is. He learns that not only theoretically, practically, he experiences everything. He comes back, he answers the question of Ubhaya Bharati's question. So, through this, why I'm telling you this is, we cannot say, no, it is not discussed properly or it doesn't fit into my um, you can say my mindset. I don't know about things. If you don't know, we have text for that. You go open and study it. Shankaracharya is the best example for this. So like this, you have these topics of Garbhopanishad and Kama Shastram that are told, and many other topics also. So my request to all of you is, as parents or as grandparents, rather than complaining and telling, nobody told me this, why should I tell my children, please tell the kids in their own way. As far, you need not get too much into detail, and maybe other people might also shun us, but these are all also topics that are there which we must know, that too from our own texts that are there. Garbhopanishad is one part. It is a part, or you can say it's an Upaveda. It has come from the Atharva Veda only. It is very, very important to know such things. If you don't know, the knowledge goes away there and then. And like all of us have experienced, maybe now my mindset is different. Some elderly people might not like this, but then it is just my suggestion, or my thought that I feel is, we must open our eyes and always discuss things that are there. It at least to some extent, 10 to 20%, the child always feels secure when, oh, I myself know about this. You just give them an introduction. You can at least give them references. You just check out Garbhopanishad, you check out some texts that are there. Out of 10, maybe you tell him 10 times, one fine day the child will surely do and say, okay, let me open and check for myself. And he'll find the concept so interesting. This is how we spread our own scriptures. Okay, next we come out. So now from the you have the Shukra and the Shonita of the womb that is there. Then you have, now the concept that here comes is how the womb is formed is for that also. Now here we are just looking at the gist of the topic, not very detailed. But now not every sperm goes and fertilizes the egg, right? That's the reason why not every time a woman gets pregnant, or not all women in the world get pregnant. So therefore, the thing that is there is, for one sperm, now a lot of sperms are released together for a man, whereas it takes, not every egg gets fertilized. It takes some time. The sperm that gets fertilized, it says that it takes about 3 months for the garbha to form. That's the reason the first 2 3 months that are there are very, you have to be very, very cautious and so on. Maybe women, those who have experience to know about this, you might know more. So you feel nauseatic, this and that. So it takes 3 months for the garbha to be formed. And now, what exactly, how the garbha is formed, that description is given. Ekaratroshitam kalilam bhavati. In one night, what happens is, a small, you can say, now this in the picture, it seems to be very big, but actually it is just a microscopic, very, very small. Under the microscope, if you see, it will be a very small piece that develops. Next, what happens is, Saptaratroshitam Budbudam Bhavati. In 7 days, what happens is, a bubble develops, it seems. Now, all this is happening inside the womb of the mother. Maybe we don't know from outside. Maybe she cannot experience herself. Ardhamasa Bhyantarena Pindo Bhavati. After 15 days, a lump of flesh develops. That is Masaha. Masabhyantarena Kathino Bhavati. Then the fetus develops, it becomes hard. That is, it cannot be. Now, that's the reason why initially we have to be very, very careful, they say, right? Because a piece of flesh, anytime you can actually, it can just go about. It's just piece of flesh that is there. Slowly, after 1 month or so only, it gets its hardness. Then Masadvayena Shiraha Sampadyate. And finally, the head is formed after 2 months. And Masatrayena Padapravesho Bhavati. Then the feet is formed. So first is, you have a small nodule, then a bubble, then flesh, then it becomes hard, then the head is formed, then you have the feet that is formed. 3 months, is the period wherein now you know that okay, child is going to be born now, like a human structure it gets. Okay, till here is everyone following? Yes. Okay. Next is, next what happens in the fourth month? चतुर्थे मासे जठरकटिप्रदेशो भवति. Slowly fingers, the stomach and hips start coming in. Panchame masi पृष्ठवंशो भवति. The vertebral column starts from the fifth month. That's when in the fifth and sixth month, because of the vertebral column, you have the bones and so on that are there, right? So that's when you can actually see the womb. That when you look at a woman also, you know if she's pregnant also, right? Because till the 3 or 4 months, you have just flesh and pieces. You can say fingers, belly, hips, and so on. But from the fifth month onwards, you have vertebral column. So that is the bones actually start developing. The child is there in the proper position because of the vertebral column. It cannot just move about in any direction. Maybe it sits properly or it stands properly, whatever it is, inside the womb only. Sitting, standing in the sense it attains a proper structure. That's the reason we can make out, okay, something is there inside the womb. षष्ठे मासे मुखनासिकाक्षि श्रोत्राणि भवन्ति. Then mouth, nose, and ears develop. From here is when the child can slowly now mouth, not mouse, mukha, mouth, sorry. Mouth, it's a correction there, make a note. Mouth, nose, and ears start developing. Slowly now all the functions, sense organs start developing. Saptame mase jivane samyukto bhavati. Is united with the soul that is there. That is from 6th and 7th month onwards. The womb, the child inside the womb can listen, or it can react to the world outside. It comes to know. Later it is becoming aware. Till the fifth month or so, it is just a piece of flesh. It's just a body that is there. It has got no soul at all. Slowly now life starts developing. That's the reason you have the Garbhodhana Samskara and so on that is done then, right? The God Bharai or we call or Shrimanda Samskara that is done during that month, wherein whatever you do, why those rituals are done is the child is associated with the soul now, has got a life for itself. Till the fifth month, it is just body that is there. So now, if you see the process of death is soul, body, right? So soul leaves the body, and then what remains is body. Same thing at birth also. First the body comes, then soul comes. While leaving, first soul leaves, then the body leaves. So basically, soul is something which is the base. Otherwise, it is just a piece of flesh that is there. So from 6 to 7 months onwards, slowly you have jiva that is come in. The child can listen. So therefore, it is said that what the mother listens, where she spends her time, what she does when the child is there inside the womb, that has an impact. Best example, Prahlada. His Prahlada, Narasimha Avatara reference. Kayatu, his mother, Narada used to come and tell the stories of Vishnu, it seems, to Prahlada. Kayatu used to fall asleep. She used to fall down, it seems. But the child inside the womb, Prahlada, after the month of, after 6 months in the womb, after spending 6 months in the womb, it could hear to what Narada was saying and it started reacting to that. That's how he became a great Vishnu Bhakta. So it is said that to some extent, whatever characteristics, if you are doing something in life today, all thanks to our mother, maybe she would have done that. Of course, these are all just, you can say, predictions that are there. Doesn't mean 100%, but still it has got an impact. So that's the reason life starts or samskara starts right from the womb. Garbha samskara, as we say. So what we expose once the child right from inside the womb, that has an impact on the child all through the life. Then 7 months, you have the jiva that comes in. So usually you have the garbhodana samskara during this sixth or seventh month. Ashtame mase sarva sampurno bhavati. All parts of the body, internal organs, everything starts developing now. Navame sarva lakshana sampurna bhavati. 9 months now, when the child is ready to come out, roughly after, you can say 36, 38 weeks that are there, now it is also aware. Now, just for the soul to be inside, just for, you can say, the body parts to be developed is not enough, right? Perception, cognition. That means to be aware of things. To become, someone calls out, we react, right? Or if there is something hot, I feel, oh, I say it is hot. Something is cold, I know it is cold. We react, right? So that reaction, perception, understanding things. Oh, this is life. This is my eyes. This is my ears. This is something which is very, very important. This also develops in the ninth month that is there. So this is how inside the womb development takes place. 9 months development has been mentioned in the Garbhopanishad. Next is uh, now in general you have just the description that has been told. First is you have the microscope, small nodule that is there, then a bubble, then a lump of flesh, then the fetus it becomes hard, head is formed, feet is formed, fingers, belly, hips, then you have the vertebral column, then you have the sense organs, mouth, nose, and ears. Then the fetus is united with this jiva. This is when we do the when this happens, that is when men who have the yajñopavitam, you wear another thread that is there. You add another string of thread through your yajñopavita during the first garbhodana samskara, during the birth of the first child. Because why this also has got some reference with this fetus uniting with the jiva that is there, because the soul that is there, why men do this is because the we are born because of one's father, though mother's contribution is there, though he carries the child, the father does not contribute, the mother cannot carry any child, right? So the jiva that is there inside is actually a part of me. That's the reason the man, he wears another string of yajnopavita, another string of thread. The same thing, right? First thread is during the Upanayana Samskara, you have the first thread that is worn. Second thread is during the wedding ceremony. During your marriage, you wear another string of thread because my life partner is a part of my soul now. Because later, both of us, when we get together, we'll have another Jiva who will be born. So that is when you wear the second thread of Upanayana. Third string of thread, when do we wear, is when you have the birth of the first child. One a part of my soul, part of my life is going to come out. Therefore it has got its soul now. It's not just a mere body of flesh and mamsa that is there. Jiva has also come inside it, so now it is going to be united, it's going to come out very soon. That's when it's like an indication. Those who don't have the yajnopavita samskara, it is fine, but those who have the yajnopavita samskara, it is there for the first three varanas that are there. They will always wear this, and there is a lot of significance. It's not that you just pick up a string of thread and wear around your neck. It's not like that. Everything that we do in each stage of life has got some meaning to it. Next, last is by the 8th month, all the parts of the body are developed. 9th month, awareness comes in the child. Next is, so this is the how the development of the fetus takes place. Next topic that is there is, the next topic, you can find it little controversial, gender that has been described. Now, as per Garbhopanishad, you can just have a look, then we discuss. As per Garbhopanishad, gender is not, gender is decided only by the father, only by the chromosome. As per medical science, it cannot be done by the mother. So, on this part, little you have some controversy that is there. If you see here, Pituretoti Raktat Purusho Bhavati. The father's semen is, you can say, preponderant. It is there on the higher side, a boy is born. Matuhu reto dirikta striyo bhavati. If a mother's is there, it is no. Mother, a woman does not release semen at all, right? Only a male releases it. Mother, so whatever, that is nothing but in modern science that you call this as a X and Y chromosomes. XX, XY. XX is for a female, XY is for a male. So if the man releases X, it is a girl. If a man releases Y, it's going to be a boy, right? And this is not there even in the hands of the man also. It's not there in any of our hands. Whichever happens, that's how the child is born. So here, uh, on this part, little now, on the basis of what Garbha Upanishad has mentioned this, little there is a controversy. There is research that is going on, but still people have not jumped to this conclusion at all. Or maybe in what sense they have told, we don't know. So maybe not to, one thing which I felt, which we can consider is maybe not with regards to the gender, maybe you can say the attributes that are there. The character. Sometimes we say that your nature is like your mother, or behavior little can be. So in terms of behavior or nature, we can compare, but a woman cannot be responsible for determining the gender. Man also, though we say responsible, it's not there in his hands also. Whichever he releases, that's how the gender is determined. So on this part, little you have conflict that is still going on. Medical science does not accept that. We cannot believe in this. Mother semen, father semen. Mother does not release a semen at all. But with twins, what happens is Bijatulyatva Napumsako Bhavati. Both mother and father, it is equipotent, neutral gender body is born. That is how you have the concept of transgenders. So this part that is there, uh, this also now we cannot accept this, but still this tries to indicate that in those times in the society, people used to have a lot of respect for the transgender community also that is there. And like in today's times, we don't shun them away. Of course, now you have a lot of this, the LGBT rights, the pride, and such things that are there. But still, even till date we have many people who shun this community, the transgender community. It was not there in those times. This tries to indicate because neutral babies were also born in those times and the society used to accept them. Even today, in certain places, you have certain rights for these people belonging to these communities and so on. So, like this, you have some references that are given. Only the gender part of Garbhopanishad, how far you can consider it will with a pinch of salt you can take. Okay, next you have how twins are born. Anyonya vayu paripidita shukradvaidyaadvai dhatanu syatato yugmaha prajayante. Now, as per medical science, how twins are born is when the semen, that is the shukla, when it is on the way to shonita, sometimes due to the vayu element that is there in the body, a lot of, you can say, air that is present, sometimes it splits into two, and that's how twins are born. This is something which is quite logical. So it is like a pathway that is there from the man till the woman. When it is traveling, you have some vayu element that is released, and that's how you have sometimes that you have the conception of twins that takes place. So it is divided into two parts. That's how twins born. And if it keeps on traveling in the same direction, it doesn't stop anywhere in between, it will be only one child. Even the concept of these triplets and so on also that comes in, it is because while traveling sometimes it splits into three. That's how you have the concept of triplets coming in. So this to some extent you can consider this as logic. Now, lastly, you have the psychological and spiritual state of the fetus that has been described. Now, when the child is there inside the womb, and all of us also we get this thoughts, it seems. Nana yoni sahasrani drishtva chaiva tato maya ahara vivida bhuktaha pitascha vividastanaha. The child inside the womb, that is during the ninth month or so after it develops awareness, it has a lot of thoughts that are going on. It's not that it's just a piece of flesh that is sitting inside your womb. It's not like that. What is the psychological state, or what was rather the psychological state of all of us when we were inside our mother's womb is Nanayoni Sahasrani. I've been born through many wombs. Drishtva Chaiva Tato Maya. I've seen many wombs around. Why many wombs? Not only a human womb, it can be even an animal, right? Like this, I've stayed in so many wombs. Ahara Vivida Bhuktaha. Depending on what my mother ate, I have tasted all kinds of food. Pitashta Vividastanaha. I have drank milk from stanaha. Stanaha meaning the breast or the chest part of woman. So I have drank so much of milk, different drank milk from many breasts of my various mothers and different birds. All this I'm doing year after year, continuous, not year after year. After many years, I'm doing this. The human birth, roughly as per the Kali Yuga, is 100. After 100 years, again, I'm going to do the same thing. If it's an animal birth or something, maybe after 13 years, 14 years, 18 years, the same process is getting repeated. When will I come out of this? Just like in life also, sometimes we feel you go somewhere, you do some work or something. Now today everyone is happy, it's a Sunday. Tomorrow Monday, oh again I have to. Monday, Friday comes, 2 days we are happy, again no, it's a Monday. So we feel that same thing I'm doing again and again. Shankaracharya highlights in Bhajagovindam, Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam, Punarapi Janani, Jatare Shayanam, Iha Samsare Bahudustare, Krapaya Pare, Pahi Murare. Shankaracharya cries out, Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam. I'm born, again I die. Punarapi Janani, Jatare Shayanam. Again I have to sleep in the mother of my womb. Iha samsare bahudustare. What is this life? So difficult. Kripaya pare pahi murari. Oh Lord, oh Murari, you please save me from this. So like this, the womb, the child inside the womb also cries out. It feels like this, but it cannot help itself. So, and that's the reason why when it comes out, what happens is जातस्यैव मृतस्यैव जन्म चैव पुनः पुनः अहो दुःखादयो मग्नः न पश्यामि प्रतिक्रियाम्. He says that this womb also that I'm living is also full of suffering. Cycle of birth, rebirth. That is there. I born. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. Then again I born, I die. Again I born, I die. I have to flee. I have to be free from this. This is nothing but moksha. Our dharma tries to propagate this. That's the reason it is said that these thoughts come in the womb of. These thoughts come in the child who is present inside the womb. And he says that inside there is so much of suffering that is there in the womb. Now you just imagine nine. Oh, we are lucky that we don't remember our sufferings while we are there inside, right? But you see, in a very now the womb of a mother who's there, it's going to be so small. In that, you have to adjust yourself not for a day or two, for 9 months. Then whatever, nothing is there in your hands. You cannot move at all, right? Then in that area you have to adjust. Whatever is given to you, whatever the mother eats, you have to eat it. You like it, you don't like it. Whatever you she drinks, you eat it. Wherever she goes, you have to keep moving here and there. So so much of suffering. So then the child, it feels that when it is inside the womb, it feels, now I'm inside the womb only I'm suffering so much. Once I go out, what will happen? So therefore I should always pray that this should be my last womb that is there. I should not be reborn again. These thoughts come in the mind of the child when it is there inside. That's the reason. But finally, what happens is, so all these thoughts come in a ninth month. Slowly, the date nears when it has to come out. And so all this jnanam is there. It is ready with the thought that I should pray, but I should not get a rebirth. I don't want to undergo this suffering at all. It is ready for this and it prays. But now, when it comes out, due to the impact of the outer world, it starts crying. All children cry, right? Why do they cry? Philosophically, Garbhopanishad also highlights this. It is said that once the child is outside, it loses all its jnana. The thoughts that were there when it was inside, that no, I don't want to rebirth, I don't want to suffer all this, it is actually aware of the reality. But when it comes out, it cries because it loses all its jnana. It is welcome in the world of ajnana. As per science, scientifically, if you see, it's in a closed environment for 9 months. Suddenly when it is exposed outside, it cannot bear that. A lot of air, a lot of people, noise, this and that. So it takes time. That's the reason why the child cries. Philosophically, or you can say spiritually, psychologically, the meaning is the child loses all its jnana that is there. That's the reason it starts crying. Oh, again, I'm born now. I've forgotten whatever I thought when I'm inside the womb. Now, next the 100 years, I'm going to while about doing something full of sufferings. So, if you see, the irony of life is during the time of birth, the child cries, people around are laughing and smiling, they're celebrating. But when a person dies, the person is still, he is steady, people around cry. Why? Because when the person dies, at that time he is happy that finally now I'm freed from this world, freed from all kinds of bondages and troubles. I've led a good life, a fruitful life. Now at least let me ascend moksha. So jnanam again comes in, like when it was there in the womb. Now again it comes, okay, now this one life is over. Next, let me see whether things are good. Let me not get a rebirth and so on. But people around, they don't understand that. They feel, oh, my close one is died, and they sit and cry. So this is the reason why when a person is born, the child cries, people around are happy. And a person dies, the person is still, people around cry. So like this, inside the womb, all such thoughts, it would have come to all of us also, we don't remember that. But now once it comes out, it starts crying. So lastly, what comes to his mind is वैष्णवेन वायुना संस्पृश्यते तदा न स्मरति जन्म मरणं न च कर्म शुभाशुभम्. So now, as soon as a child is born, why it cries it? It comes with the Vaishnava Vayu. Vaishnava Vayu is the air that is there. Prana Vayu or Vaishnava Vayu. Oxygen, air around, it cannot remember anything that is there. And of its past lives, what exactly happened inside the womb, nothing it can remember. That's the reason it cries out. Finally, what happens is, now, when the child is born, what exactly is it consisted of? Kapalam Kesha Darbha Mukamanta Vedif Chatushkapalam Shiraha Shodasha Parshva Dantoshta Patanani Saptottara Marmashatam Sashitikam Sandeshatam Sanavakam Snayushatam Sapta Shirasatani Panchamajjashatani Astini Chahavai Tini Shatani Shashtishtardha Chatasro Romani Kutyo and so on. Meaning, the head has got four skull bones. That's the reason skull is very, very important. Then both the sides you have tooth sets, teeth. Then small spots are there all over the body, 107, 180 bone joints that are there, 500 muscles, 360 bones, 45 million pores. You can see your hand, you can see your legs, all the body parts, you have pores, right? Pores in the body. So, like medical science also, maybe you can compare and see. The numbers are little mentioned in the same manner. So, this is how a small child, when it is born, it is composed of all such things. So this is how Garbhopanishad has been described by this Pippala Maharshi who is there. With this topic of Garbhopanishad, the last chapter is the anatomy. That is, anatomy is what exactly the newborn child, what exactly it is made up of. That description has been made here. So this is the anatomy of the newborn child. So with this, the topic of Garbhopanishad gets to an end. Those interested, you can read about it even in detail. You've just seen a brief of it. It's just how, firstly, the child, what exactly a human body is consisted of, how it has an impact on the Pancha Mahabhutas, starting from there till then, how the Garbha is formed through the Shukra and Shonita of a man and woman, it leads to the womb Garbha that is being formed. Then all the 9 months, every month, every stage, how some development takes place. Then slowly the psychological state of the child. Once it is developed, the soul, Jiva meets in the seventh month, then the psychological spiritual state, what exactly the child feels when it is inside the womb. Lastly, the anatomy, that is a physical structure, how the newborn child is born. When it is born, what exactly it undergoes, that has been described. So this is Garbhopanishad. So through this you see that in those times how people knew about so many things. There were so many ancient scriptures that gave us so much of information with regards to a child being born, the womb, what exactly happens. So maybe we consider this very lately, very casually, that we maybe look at, okay, a child is born, 9 months it stays and it goes about. But every month, what exactly development takes place, that is very, very important and very, you can say, in detail, it has been mentioned in the Garbhopanishad. So this is the topic of Garbhopanishad. Could everyone follow? Yes? Yeah. Okay. So yes. So now, whenever we know about Garbhopanishad, whenever a child is born, or maybe when all of us were born, we had to also undergo so many things that are there. All this has been mentioned in detail. Okay. So today, let's not start with something new. Only 2 3 minutes are left. Next time, we'll start with the next topic that is there. Let's see what's the next topic. We'll start with something next. Garbhopanishad. Till Garbhopanishad, I'll share the audio, and I think the notes are also missing for 2 3 topics from before. I will share all that also together so you can go through the same.